Hey everybody, I want to introduce this video to you. It's called The Worst Racist Ever, and as you will see, a bunch of clips that I've put together that kind of show, these are clips that you won't typically see on CNN or mainstream media because they hide them from you so that they can push a narrative out and fool you, fool us into believing their lies. This stuff isn't hard to find out for yourself, but it takes time, and a lot of us are too busy. Our lives are too busy to spend hours reading and researching and looking up things. So I've actually done that for you, and you can look at these clips. This just isn't a way that a racist acts. So let's get into the video.
The President of the United States is a racist.
I am the least racist person that you have ever met. I am the least racist person.
I know what racism looks like. I've seen it firsthand. In America, it has no resemblance to President Trump. And I'm fed up with the way he's portrayed in the media, who refuse to acknowledge what he's actually done for the black community.
Are you a Trump supporter from day one?
Not at all. Not at all. I'm a convert. I'm a convert, you know. It takes a little bit of humility for me to say that, but yeah, I'm a convert, absolutely.
So what kind of brought you around? What made you realize, like, hey, this guy's doing stuff, I want to support him?
Well, it was a type of situation. I believed everything the media told me. I believed, I drank the Kool-Aid, so to speak. And it got to the point where, the type of person I am, I like to know why I don't like someone. I was told that he's a racist, but let me get some evidence, right? So I can be able to debate Trump supporters when it comes down to this, and I can be able to beat them down with facts. Started doing my research, and I was like, okay, well, I agree with that he said. I like that what he said. I like that policy. I like this guy. I think I'm gonna go ahead and rock with this guy. So that's what I started doing, and I haven't stopped.
I love that. And it's so funny because I think I hear this more and more. People maybe who didn't support him initially because they believed the headlines and all this hype and all this hate from the media. When people do their own research, they come around and support him.
Every time. I have very unpleasant feelings when it comes to the media because I was duped by them. I was duped by their lies. And you look at the media now, all they do is vilify the man. I mean, the man, he can walk on water, and they will protest him still. The man has been working tirelessly, not only fighting the media, but making our country better, making America great again. And the media do everything in their power, everything, to make sure that the American people know that he's nothing but Hitler. And it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous narrative, and I'm sick of it.
Do you believe that he's a racist?
He always been a racist.
President Trump has always been a racist?
Oh, of course.
And what proof do you have?
Because he's a redneck.
He's a redneck?
You can tell he don't like black people.
Really?
Yeah.
So you could just look at him and tell?
Yes, of course.
Wow, but you have no other proof other than that?
And what about the First Step Act? That's a law that allows prisoners who believe they have unfairly long sentences to have their sentences reviewed. And since President Trump signed that act, 1,000 people have benefited. 90% have been black men. They've had their sentences reduced an average of almost 70 months.
2 months ago, I was in a prison cell, and I'm in the White House. Let's continue to make America great again.
That the president did nothing. The President of the United States is a racist.
How significant do you think this is? By the way, one of your partners in working on this was Jared Kushner.
Jared Kushner, whose father went to prison and who fought on this as hard as that. This is history. This is history. Right now, you're witnessing history on the floor of the U.S. Senate. There's a Christmas miracle underway where, for the first time in a generation, Republicans and Democrats are arm in arm tonight saying, we are sending too many people to prison. They're coming out bitter and not better. We want to make a tremendous difference. I want to say Hakeem Jeffries on the left, Jared Kushner, and Donald Trump on the right have brought together a coalition like I've never seen.
It is flat out racist.
What are the first things you did when you first came into the presidency? The very first things you did was like remove regulation and taxation at high levels. Think about the black community that has been under Democratic rule, progressive rule for 60 years. How many rules, how many regulations, how many different forms of taxation are on the books in those areas that are preventing our communities from actually being able to see sustainable growth that we can keep and get ourselves out of this threat of generational poverty? We are not okay when it comes to things like education, because we are not able to get quality choice into our communities because we don't have any position or power on our school boards to be able to fight for those things, and not just to get charters in, but to also bring some kind of reformation to the public school system as it stands too. So yes, as well as criminal justice reform and a lot of other things, as well as health and things we could put down the list. All of these things have been under Democratic control for 60 years, and they are not going to change until we have a Republican Party that is willing to go into these communities and actually offer a choice to these people.
Now, choice in education is something that blacks and browns want. Guess who doesn't want it? White Dems, who would never put their own kids in an urban school in a million years.
Now, the proposal that I brought forth on education ends all private charter schools in this country.
If I'm president, Betsy DeVos's whole notion from charter schools to this are gone.
The Opportunity Scholarship Program that we're funding allows families in the inner city of our nation's capital to leave failing public schools and attend a private school, making an extraordinary difference in these incredible young lives.
Flat out racist.
And today I'm calling on all lawmakers to work with us to help extend school choice to millions more children all across the United States of America, including millions of low-income Hispanic and African-American children who deserve the same chance as every other child in America to live out their dreams and fill up their hearts and be educated at the top level.
If I'm president, from charter schools to this are gone.
You're going to allow Biden and Harris to deny our underserved black and brown children school choice?
Civil Rights Commission, the one cohort, the one demographic in the United States of America most harmed, most palpably harmed by illegal immigration are black Americans. And politicians, open borders politicians know this. They know this because there have been numerous hearings before Congress on this. I've testified in a number of these hearings. George Borjas has testified in a number of these hearings. Stephen Camarada has testified, and we've presented all of this evidence, all of this data, that the pernicious effect of illegal immigration, of open borders, has had on black Americans in terms of employment. Nearly 1 million fewer blacks work today because of the competition from illegal immigration than otherwise would be the case if we had a secure border.
In a few moments, I will sign an executive order launching a new White House opportunity. This is a very big thing that Tim and I and everybody have been working on for a long time. And Revitalization Council. This council will coordinate efforts across the entire federal government to deliver jobs, investment, and growth to the communities that need it the most. I am the least racist person.
Kenosha was so glad the president came, versus what the media would say, oh, he can't go, he can't go, he can't go. Well, he went, and he's helping Kenosha out, and he also restored law and order there.
But the president did nothing.
That's right. Of course, the media won't share this, but we literally rode for 15 miles, Sean, and literally person after person with pro-Trump signs showing up, showing their support in a district that is a Democrat district that no one since Richard Nixon had won, but President Trump did. And then we arrive at this, we arrive in Kenosha. He stands at a business that was burned down. They'd been open for 109 years, but they were burned down by Antifa rioters.
I think he is a racist.
You're an African-American successful business person. You're the secretary of HUD. You work for President Trump. Is he racist?
He is not racist at all. The first time I met him, it was before we got into politics, was down at Mar-a-Lago.
Come on.
And he and I were talking, and someone came up to him and said, Mr. Trump, Rod Stewart is here. And he said, yeah, but this is Ben Carson. That's the kind of person he is. and you may remember when we were running for president at one of the debates, and I couldn't hear my name announced, so I was standing there. Everybody else gleefully walked past me, but Trump stood right next to me until they straightened it out. You know, that's the kind of person that he is. You know, he lived in New York. Jesse Jackson gave him an award for the incredible things that he had done in the African American community. I have never seen anything that even resembles racism. And look at the policies that have been done. And look at the people who have been helped. You know, black unemployment at the lowest level ever. Same thing for Hispanics. You look at the fact that he is engaged so much in second chance for people. You know, things that other people talked about, but he has done. You know, opportunity zones where people who've made enormous amounts of money have the opportunity to take unrealized capital gains and to plow them into the areas of the country that have traditionally been neglected. You know, it's what's been done. It's not what's been said or how it's been interpreted and hashed over and over in the media.
But the president did nothing.
You know, there is a radical element that has been introduced into our legislative body that seems to be intent on pushing their ideology. And they have an accomplice in the media in doing so. And this is very detrimental to our country. You know, I think, you know, we should be having a conversation with the media, and they should be having a conversation themselves, asking themselves, why is it that the press is the only business that has been protected by our Constitution? And the reason is because they were supposed to disseminate objectively to the people of America real information upon which they could make decisions. They were not supposed to try to manipulate people. So, you know, there are the radical element that is taking advantage of the ideological bent of the media, and it's unfair to the people. But as Thomas Jefferson said, the people will come through. The people will be smart enough to figure this out. I hope that's true.
Etched in the hall that we passed today is a quote from Spotswood Rice, a runaway slave who joined the Union Army. He believed that his fellow African Americans always looked to the United States as the promised land of universal freedom. Today and every day of my presidency, I pledge to do everything I can to continue that promise of freedom for African Americans and for every American. So important, nothing more important. This tour is a meaningful reminder of why we have to fight bigotry, intolerance, and hatred in all of its very ugly forms.
I mean, that's really what I have to say. We're doing tremendous under this presidency. There is no candidate that is offering anything on the left to counter what Trump has offered. They're just offering more rhetoric, more fear-mongering, and unfortunately, time is up on this narrative.
We're going to do great things in our African-American communities together. Ben's going to work with me very, very closely. I also want to profoundly thank Alveda King for being here. And as we saw her uncle's wonderful exhibit, and he certainly deserves that. Mrs. King, and by the way, Miss King, I can tell you this personally because I watch her all the time, and she is a tremendous fighter for justice. And so, Alveda, thank you very much. I have been watching you for so long, and you are so incredible. And I want to thank you for all the nice things you say about me. Not everybody says nice things, but she's special. Thank you.
I think he is a racist.
Say he's a racist. He's a racist. Engraved in the wall very nearby, a quote by the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. In 1955, he told the world, "We are determined to work and fight until justice runs down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream." And that's what it's going to be. We're going to bring this country together, maybe bring some of the world together, but we're going to bring this country together. We have a divided country. It's been divided for many, many years, but we're going to bring it together.
Well, I think the word has really gone down a long way because everybody's called a racist now. Her own party called Nancy Pelosi a racist 2 weeks ago. The word is so overused, it's such a disgrace. And I can tell you, I'm the least racist person there is in the world, as far as I'm concerned. and they use it almost when they run out of things to criticize you. So I think it's one of the most successful things ever done for the inner cities. It's turned out to be Tim Scott of South Carolina worked very, very hard on it. So many other people did, and it's really become a great success. The biggest beneficiary are African American. The African American population, it's incredible what's happened. But between that criminal justice reform, and then of course, the biggest thing is the lowest unemployment rate in the history of this country for African Americans. Lowest in the history by far. It's not even close.
You should know that the president did nothing, has not lifted a finger to help the African American community.
And just a few notes. During this month, we honor the tremendous history of the African Americans throughout our country, throughout the world, if you really think about it, right?
That the president did nothing.
The story is one of unimaginable sacrifice, hard work, and faith in America. I've gotten a real glimpse during the campaign. I'd go around with Ben to a lot of different places that I wasn't so familiar with. They're incredible people. And I want to thank Ben Carson, who's going to be heading up HUD. That's a big job. And it's a job that's not only housing, it's mind and spirit, right? And you understand. Nobody's going to be better than Ben. Last month we celebrated the life of Reverend Martin Luther King.
That the president did nothing.
Whose incredible example is unique in American history. You read all about Dr. Martin Luther King a week ago when somebody said I took the statue out of my office. And it turned out that was fake news.
Nothing. Has not lifted a finger to help the African American community.
The statue is cherished. It's one of the favorite things and we have some good ones. We have Lincoln, and we have Jefferson, and we have Dr. Martin Luther King, and we have other, but they said the statue, the bust of Dr. Martin Luther King was taken out of the office, and it was never even touched. So I think it was a disgrace, but that's the way the press is. Very unfortunate. I am very proud now that we have a museum in the National Mall where people can learn about Reverend King, so many other things. Frederick Douglass is an example of somebody who's done an amazing job and is being recognized more and more, I notice. Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, and millions more black Americans who made America what it is today. Big impact.
Because you're a smart person who studied the statistics. You should know that the president did nothing, has not lifted a finger to help the African American community. He's been the most divisive president we've seen in our lifetime for African American people.
I think the president is doing something different. Definitely his tone is different because he tells the truth and he doesn't pander to black America. He hasn't offered us hot sauce, he's offered us jobs. That makes many people uncomfortable because they're from an era where race hustling is a business. They're used to telling black Americans that they're victims, writing books about victimhood, and that is no longer selling in America.
We're going to need better schools, and we need them soon. We need more jobs. We need better wages, a lot better wages. We're going to work very hard in the inner city. Ben's going to be doing that big league, big time. It's one of his big things that we're going to be looking at.
And I really thank you for signing that deal.
And it's an experience that I never forget.
I'm an example of a woman who has been given a second chance in life.
We have laws in the last several years where we don't allow judges discretion to sentence people. Flat time sentencing. You get caught, you go to jail.
Our president has made incredible strides to end mass incarceration and give unprecedented opportunities for black in America to rise.
I want to go back to the president's phone call because we were both on the phone call. The president was extremely gracious.
Yeah.
He called at a perfect time during the funeral services.
Yes.
It just lifted Horace up. He was just like elated, screaming. And I got a call from the president. So I don't want to belittle the power of the presidency or the seat of the presidency. It was very, very special for him. It was very, very special for myself. Whatever your politics are, that doesn't matter. The office is the most powerful office in this world. And to be able to receive a phone call from the president, listen, it gets no higher than that. And
Look at the evidence. This is not just my opinion.
So first of all, I saw the interview, and he was a lovely man. I spoke to him at length and with his friend, who's a great guy too.
Horace Lorenzo Anderson, yes, sir. His son
I
killed.
actually invited them down to the White House at some point when they get when they get adjusted, because it is so tough. I mean, what he's going through is so tough. And he was treated very badly. They didn't even tell him what had happened, when it had happened. Very sad thing. But I did speak to him, and I had a great but very sad conversation. And so he'll be coming down. When he's ready, he'll be coming down to the
because he's been the most divisive president on race issues of any president in my lifetime, and probably any president in any living person's lifetime.
Donald Trump on the right have brought together a coalition like I've never seen.
Racism is just a word that's being bandied and thrown about and thrown at the president, in my opinion, unjustly. President Trump is not a racist. I've been with the president recently quite a bit, and when he signed the legislation making the historic site, Martin Luther King site in Atlanta, Georgia, a national park, and I'm so glad the president has done it. But what is so outrageous to call a man a racist who continues to acknowledge the significant work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., my uncle, in a positive way. And he puts his money where his mouth is. He puts his energy behind it. Our own nation. He's doing a great job with prison reform.
Y'all passed this, I could have fell through the floor.
And helping those prisoners come back to society to lead productive lives. He said to people on Medicaid, okay, you need assistance, that's a good thing, but you need to work as well. Have the dignity of a job. I like all of those things. The little babies in the womb. I could go on and on about all the good things he's doing.
That a lot of these things are systemic. I think what we've done through your leadership is start to break down that system and fight back. Opportunity zones, HBCUs, criminal justice reform, those are reversing some systemic issues. And through your leadership now, we're looking at other layers of that, because we just saw what COVID shined a spotlight on access to capital. It shined a spotlight on health disparities. And then recently with the protests, how can we create better police and community relations? But one thing we've done over the last couple of weeks is listen to individuals, and now we have solutions. And those are things we're going to continue to work through as an administration, because it's about results. And I think a lot of people are leaning on you because you're result oriented. It's not about just us talking here. It's about what we're going to produce out of this meeting.
Are we so offended by the president's campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again," that we're going to ignore that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have collectively been responsible for locking up countless black men for nonviolent crimes?
If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, $1/4 of $1, we passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice.
Another great voice in the black community is Wayne. Wayne, you've been my friend for a long time. Wayne Dupree. His show is a phenomenon. It's a great success, and people listen and they respect what you have to say. Go ahead, please.
Well, my name is Wayne Dupree. I met President Trump when he was a businessman. As a matter of fact, he's given me 5 interviews. 2 of them in person, 3 on the phone. And when you're talking about somebody who is not with the mainstream media, somebody who just has a small voice but has a desire to make changes with his voice, to reach out to a billionaire in New York, and without hesitation, he gave me those interviews. And I think he's a natural leader. And I mean, honestly, I have supported him ever since he decided to run for president.
Go ahead, please.
My name is Raynard Jackson. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Daryl, for inviting us to this roundtable here. I'm from St. Louis originally, live here in Virginia. But what I'd like to say to you, Mr. President, is kind of off the beaten path. I'd like to say to all the media assembled here that I wish they would quit lying about what you've done specifically for the black community. So you got radical liberal journalists like Joy Reid from MSNBC, Don Lemon from CNN, Roland Martin,
who are putting more poison into the black community than any drug dealer, who are killing more black folks than any white person with a sheet over their face. How are they doing it? Spreading these lies about the economy you have, Mr. President, before the virus.
We're fighting for school choice, which really is the civil rights of all time in this country. Frankly, school choice is the civil rights statement of the year, of the decade, and probably beyond, because all children have to have access to quality education. A child's zip code in America should never determine their future, and that's what was happening. So we're very, very strong on school choice, and I hope everybody remembers that. And it's happening. It's already happened, but it's happening. We have tremendous opposition from people that know they shouldn't be opposing it. School choice. All children deserve equal opportunity because we are all made equal by God. So true.
From charter schools to this are gone.
I do want to express thanks to you, Donald Trump, for being with us tonight. We need your building skills, your gusto, your rent package for people on Wall Street who represent diversity. And we thank you for coming tonight. Let's give Donald Trump a big hand. A big hand for Donald Trump.
So as I sit here with you, you've been very kind to me, right? You've introduced me to your family. You've been very kind to me. It has to, when people say that you're racist or homophobic or Islamophobic or whatever it is, that has to bother you, or compare you to Hitler. There are newspaper covers that compare. Does that bother you?
No, if things are true, if that were true, it would bother me tremendously, okay? But of course, if you're a racist, you probably wouldn't care. But if things are true, it would bother me. But if it's so false, and honestly, I don't hear it often.
I now want to bring forth a friend who has, well, he is deceptive in that his social style is of such. One can miss his seriousness and his commitment, but his success is beyond argument. When we opened this Wall Street project and we talked about it, we gave us space at 40 Wall Street, which was to make a statement about our having a presence there. And beyond that, in terms of reaching out and being inclusive, he's done that too. And created for many people a comfort zone when I ran for the presidency in 84 and 88. And many others thought it was either laughable or something to avoid. He came to our business meeting here in New York because he has this sense of the curious and a will to risk to make things better. And so aside from all of his style and his pizzazz, he's a serious person who's an effective builder of building for the builder of people. Last year he was a part of our workshop, of our panel workshop on what are the challenges and opportunities. And so this, a year later, Donald Trump, for a few minutes, challenges and opportunities to embrace the underserved communities. Donald Trump.
I will tell you, a large percentage of the people, and especially in construction, that are building these great jobs are black and minorities, and I'm very proud of it. We have close to 25%, and I think the number's going up, and they do a great job. There are no better builders than we have in New York, and a big percentage of that is black and minority folks. So
now, Dr. West, I mean, I don't think they were feeling xenophobia or mean-spiritedness. I think they actually found a president who was willing to work with people who really didn't even like him and didn't think he was probably going to accomplish much. And it got almost no coverage. We played it on our show, maybe a few other places, but it didn't get any coverage.
right. Look, at that point, I was on the left. So when Barack Obama first went into office, I was a liberal, and I changed my mind due to exactly what you're saying. He drove this nation apart. President Trump is bringing this nation together because what he is talking about is patriotism. Patriotism knows no sex, it knows no color, it knows no creed. The liberal media can ignore all the work that he's doing in Black America all they want. Every statistic in the world shows you right now that Black support for Donald Trump has doubled, and that is meaningful. And I'm telling you that by 2020, he is going to be the first president to crack the Black vote to the detriment of the Democrats.
Above all else, we must remember this truth. No matter our color, creed, religion, or political party, we are all Americans first. We love our country. We love our God. We love our flag. We're proud of our country. We're proud of who we are. So we want to get the situation straightened out in Charlottesville, and we want to study it. And we want to see what we're doing wrong as a country where things like this can happen. My administration is restoring the sacred bonds of loyalty between this nation and its citizens. But our citizens must also restore the bonds of trust and loyalty between one another. We must love each other, respect each other, and cherish our history and our future together. So important. We have to respect each other. Ideally, we have to love each other.
Are you going to allow the media to lie to you by falsely claiming that he said there were very fine white supremacists in Charlottesville? He didn't say that.
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy.
Republicans are the party that freed the slaves and the party that put the first Black men and women in Congress. It's the party of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. And now, Tim Scott and Donald Trump. Our president has made incredible strides to end mass incarceration and give unprecedented opportunities for Black in America to rise. America, let this election be a call for all God's people who are called by his name to humble ourselves and pray together and to seek his face and to turn from our wicked ways. Then he will hear us from heaven, and he will forgive our sins, and he will heal our land. Amen, and God bless America.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out my video. Make sure you check out the Charlottesville lie. It's another exposing of an old debunked lie that Joe Biden's still trying to use. And people, don't let the media fool you. I'm here because I care about my fellow Americans. I care about my country, and I just want to expose truth, share with you these things, and stay tuned for more because they're coming.